Hey y'all, Iric Sky here, and I am super duper turbo excited again. And you know, don't want to get too excited prematurely, but tomorrow being the 13th, I expect to see a new drone. And there's a lot of speculation surrounding this new drone, and I'm going to tell you what I think, and we'll see what materializes tomorrow. Now I want to remind everyone, expand this video's description and then click the link there and you'll be able to find this drone as soon as it releases. I think the probability of it releasing is very high, and actually at the time of watching this video it may already be available. So we expect it to be the Mavic Air. Now, as we know, or you may not know, Phantom line was discontinued. Phantom was DJI's bread and butter. DJI Phantom is what put DJI on the map, without a doubt. Even if you don't know drones, you've probably seen a Phantom and you probably know, oh, that's a drone. Or you may even be like, oh, that's a DJI Phantom. What DJI has recently done is they stepped away from the heavier and less convenient drone, which is the Phantom. They introduced the Mavic Pro, then after the Mavic Pro, they released the Mavic Air, then the Mavic 2, and kind of an oddball within all of that, I would just call it testing the waters, they released something called a DJI Spark. And you can check out my video playlist. I've got all these drones on video, field testing them, showing everyone how they perform. Do they perform well? Do they perform poorly? If so, what are the positive aspects? What are the negative aspects? I take it out in the field with zero expectations and I show you what it does for me. So check out my videos. But what I expect to release tomorrow, again, tomorrow being the 13th of August, 2019, I expect to see a Mavic, I mean, we can call it whatever we want to, call it a Mavic Mini, call it a Spark 2, whatever it may be called, it's a smaller and more portable drone. But unlike the Spark, which check out my videos on that, I launched it from the front of my boat, and it was quite frightening because the battery life of the DJI Spark was not that great. But what I expect Mavic Mini, or whatever you want to call it, Spark 2, what I expect it to bring to the table is ultra portability. Now what would be super cool is if the weight fell underneath what is commonly the lower end where people have to register their drones. Now, if it was able to fall underneath that weight, it could be super cool, because if it did, it could probably be treated as a toy in a lot of areas. And not that drone regulation is a problem, but it does present its unique set of challenges. You know, when you're not buying a thing to have fun with as a hobby, you're then buying an aircraft, because the weight of the drone makes it be considered an aircraft versus a toy. So this Mavic Mini or this Spark 2, whatever it may be called, maybe it's something totally different. If it falls underneath, I think in most areas, including the United States, I think it's under a little bit over, I think it's 0.55 ounces, I think. And I may be wrong. Again, this stuff's changing so frequently. But if it falls underneath that and it's treated as a toy in a lot of countries throughout the world, this could be a game changer. Especially if the Mavic Mini, the Spark 2, whatever it may be called, if it has a 4K camera. And that leads me to my next point. The camera on the Spark was not 4K. And the camera on the Spark was not a 3-axis gimbal. So if this Mavic Mini Spark 2 that I expect to release tomorrow, if it has a 4K camera and a 3-axis gimbal, that in itself is a game changer. Sure, a smaller and lighter drone is probably not going to have the range. It's probably not going to have the battery life of a Mavic Air or a Mavic 2. But what it's probably going to have is enhanced portability. So if someone's just wanting to go out and capture a quick video clip, capture a few quick photos, and not be encumbered by a larger drone. And by the way, the Mavic 2 is not big. The Mavic Air is not big. So that leads me to the next thing. If this drone does release as expected, is it going to be too small and too lightweight to perform effectively? Because, you know, there's a fine line between solid performance and ultra portability. And if it hits the sweet spot, especially, again, if the weight of the drone is not over, well, 0.55 ounces probably, if it's a really light drone, that could be cool if it's light enough to where a lot of countries don't overly regulate it. That could be super cool. But even if it does weigh more than that, there could be some value if it's priced right, if the battery life is acceptable, and if the range is acceptable. I mean, I'm not talking about flying miles, I'm talking about flying throughout the visual line of sight range. And if it can accomplish that with an acceptable 4K camera quality for both stills and video, I think we're on to something really cool. And what would really make this thing cool is if the Mavic Mini, the Spark 2, whatever it may be called, if it supports recharging by way of USB-C. That would be great, being able to recharge the drone by way of a standard USB-C cable. That could be a game changer. So there's a lot of things, a lot of positive things that this new Mavic Mini, Spark 2, whatever it may be called, could bring to the table. So I'm super excited about it, and obviously, as soon as it becomes available for order, I'm going to order it ASAP. So if you're looking to order one as well, expand this video's description and then click the link there and you'll be able to find a link. So, you know, I'm excited to get it out in the field, do an unboxing, run it through its paces like I've done all other drones, and see how well or how poorly it performs. And I'll go ahead and preface this with, if this drone does release as expected, it's got to perform a lot better than the Spark. The Spark was just a little too diluted. And you didn't even get 4K video from the Spark, nor did you get a 3-axis gimbal. So if this thing performs almost as well as a Mavic Air, it could be super cool. But if it's an extremely diluted performance, it could only be acceptable if the price is right. Because why pay a lot for something that's going to provide a lackluster experience? So, you know, one thing's for sure, when a new drone's coming out, especially a DJI drone, I always get excited. You know, there's been a lot of little fly-by-night type drone companies that they've released stuff, and I've checked it out, and I'm like, man, I wish somebody could compete with DJI, but they just hadn't been able to do that yet. But when DJI releases something new, I get excited, especially when it's not rumored to be just a refresh. I don't know if you remember, what was it, the Phantom 4, where they had the Obsidian, and then they had the Mavic Pro, was it Platinum? They came out with all these different colors and minor upgrades, and they called it a new drone. My gut tells me that if this does release as expected tomorrow, that it will be a brand new drone. So, you know, not some sort of paint job or, ooh, the propellers are more quiet. Wow, you gotta have this, dude. You know, nothing like that. Something truly new. And it's that newness. Again, it gets me so freaking excited because I can just think about it. I'm like, I can go out in the field, I can take this out in the field, I can play with it, see what it does, but most importantly, take it out in the field and share my experiences with all of y'all here on the Irish Skies Adventure channel, youtube.com/IrishScout. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, be sure to do so and ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Because if this Mavic Mini, this Spark 2, insert whatever speculative title here, if it releases as expected tomorrow, I'm going to be all over it. Again, from unboxing to field test, put it through its paces, answer your questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited. Are y'all excited? What do you think this is going to bring? Do you think it is going to release? If so, what do you think the features are going to be? What about the price point? Speculate in the comments down below. And again, expand this video's description and then click the link there to find where to order this new drone online. Because as soon as it's available to order, that link is going to take you to it. So hopefully DJI doesn't let us down. Again, today is the 12th, and I have high hopes for August the 13th of 2019. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Hey y'all, iRick Sky here. Thanks again for your viewership. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. If you're looking for iRick Sky's Adventure Channel merch, like this t-shirt and a lot of other cool stuff, expand this video's description. You can find it all there. Y'all have a good day.